We've got a lot of stuff to discuss today. And I got to be honest, I can't believe what happened this weekend. Especially if you were listening to the end of my radio show on Friday. Because I said some things that a lot of people are probably believing that I regret today. But in the middle of giving a pump-up speech, I said this, and I'm wondering if it had an impact on everything that went down this weekend. And I've had a little bit of that kind of faith with the Astros before. I'm not sure I still have it. Pay Josh Hader. I'm not sure I still have it, though, Jim Crane, you poor ass bitch. Come on, spend some money. I like you, Jim. I'm just kidding. We'd be friends. We would be friends. Jim Crane, star pitcher in college. Paul Gallant, star safety in high school. And guess what, baby? Jim Crane, a P1 of the Paul Gallant Show. You know what he did? Yeah! He signed Josh Hader! Yeah! Yeah! Let's go! 5 years, $95 million? Hell yeah, throw that money out there, baby! We ain't no broke-ass boys here. Now, I mean, it might be a little bit more difficult to re-sign Kyle Tucker and re-sign Alex Bregman and re-sign Jose Altuve, but yeah, Astros are back. Baseball town once again. The dynasty, it never ends because Jim Crane puts his sack on the table, puts his bag of money on the table. Best reliever in baseball. He is now a Houston Astro. Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley, Forrest Whitley coming out of the bullpen. He threw 98 during a bullpen or something like that over the weekend. Hell yeah. Lance McCullers might be healthy at some point this year. Luis Garcia might be healthy at some point this year. Can't be any worse for Christian Javier. Can't be any worse for Framber Valdez. Let's go! It's baseball time in Houston, baby. And you're welcome. Jim Crane and I, two competitors with a mutual understanding of each other, I got Jim Crane to make that happen. So there you go. All right. I mean, I know there's something else that we have to discuss. And look, I think there are some things to be optimistic about with this one. So, Sean Mapes, can you just play the clip?
Rockets watch.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
We are riders on a mission, action, kids in fun condition, prepare to count down rocket power.
2024.
Big win for our Houston Rockets on Saturday. Did you see what they did? 127 to 126, taking down the Utah Jazz. Things go a little bit better for this team at home after such a long road trip that they're on. They go back to Toyota Center, and they do what they do there. Incredible team to watch at home. 100%. And, you know, I'm feeling a little bit better about Sean Mapes, the projection for the Rockets season after they were able to take down Utah on Saturday.
Yeah, team they're directly competing for the 10th spot in the West standings.
Mm-hmm. Got to fight your way into the play-in playoff thing. Right. Is it play-in tournament?
Yeah.
They got a little confusing with the tournament names. It should be the NBA Cup, but it's the in-season tournament, and it's the play-in tournament for the playoffs, which are not... Well, because officially the playoffs.
If you lose the play-in, you didn't make the playoffs. Hate to break it to you.
That's true.
You have to play a 7-game series to make the playoffs. Anyway.
Don't tell Patrick Beverly that.
Alperen Sengun, career high, 37 points. Future is bright.
Future is so bright.
Cam Whitmore, closing minutes.
Let's go.
Amon Thompson, clutch block.
Hell yeah. All right. But we do have to talk about something else that took place over the weekend. And, you know, it's a team that we also believe has a very bright and promising future. Play the clip, Sean.
Cougs Watch.
Huzzah! Our beloved Cougs!
They call them Phi Slamma Jamma.
2024.
So our beloved Cougs, 2 wins in the Big 12 in a row. They blew out a frisky Central Florida for their second straight Big 12 win on Saturday. 57-41 the final score. So look, I mean, it is an Astros town that we live in, but our beloved Cougs took care of business. They bounced back, right? And now, I mean, the rest of the Big 12 got to be looking over their shoulders. UCF is beating some good teams, and the Cougs just mollywopped them. So, who runs the Big 12? I think we know the answer to that one.
Halftime score 28-14. College basketball, folks.
It's a lot like football sometimes.
Yeah.
It's violent.
That basically was the score of UCF Houston in football.
Right. It really was. So, Cougs, another win, but we do have to talk about a really disappointing moment over the weekend for a Houston sports team who played against one of the best teams in the league. So, Sean, just play the clip.
Rockets Watch.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
We are riders on a mission. Action, kids in fine condition. Prepare to count down. Rocket power.
2024.
Because the Rockets had another game on Sunday, and they played the Boston Celtics, who were coming off a loss to the Denver Nuggets on Friday. And, you know, the Celtics are arguably the best team in the NBA. I don't know if I go that far. I mean, that's a team that I love a lot, the Boston Celtics. I feel like there are some questions about them, even though they have had an awesome start to the year. But the Rockets, Sean, this was just a disappointing moment for a young team that's still got a lot to fight for, that's got a lot to be proud of this year. They just went up against a really good team.
Yeah, at a certain point, especially with the state of the injuries the Rockets were at, no Tari Eason, no Jabari Smith, no Fred.
Right.
Again, they've come a long way. They've already surpassed any expectation you could reasonably have for them this year.
Yeah.
The young core does still look good. Triple-double from Alperen Sengun for your Alperen Sengun update in the middle of the Rockets watch. So, yes, future's bright. You can be disappointed, but
Exactly.
there'll be times where we look back and we're like, you know what? Losses like this help build what we will do in the future.
Right. They got the coach. The star player didn't look so much like a star all by himself. Alperen Sengun, with just not as much talent as the other team on Sunday. And there you go. So it was a jam-packed weekend in Houston sports. Other stuff that we could discuss, I mean, Baker Mayfield. You gonna Baker Mayfield some more out there, huh?
So close to getting his money.
Imagine
So
losing.
close.
Sean,
He might
you're
still
right.
get his money,
He
but
was so close to getting his money, and imagine losing a playoff game with like that, by one score. But it's your fault. Like, you throw that interception at the very end. We could also talk about how same thing with Jordan Love and the Packers, right? I mean,
he knows exactly how it feels.
Right. Same thing. Imagine losing by just one score and you throw an interception at the end. That happened to Jordan Love. Imagine losing by one score and you kick a field goal wide right, which is what your team historically is known for. Like the Buffalo Bills and Tyler Bass. So yeah, a lot of things to talk about. And also, a really, I think, sad moment for another young up-and-coming star. Did you see Caitlin Clark got truck sticked by an Ohio State fan as they were rushing the court during a key game between Ohio State and Iowa in women's college basketball?
We'll have to watch the all-22 on that to see how truck sticked she got, but
I think she flopped. I think sold the contact a little bit.
Yeah. But yes, tough weekend tough 3 losses in the NFL in the divisional round. and
Tough.
especially tough for Kalen Clark.
Tough for everybody. Anything else? No, I don't think. I think that's it.
Clean show.
713-780.
Greeny is up next.
3776 to call it to text it. Greeny is up next. Our show is done. If you want to talk about the thing, just send a yes to the text line or on Twitter or on Twitch or on YouTube. If you want to talk about the thing. But here's the thing. I don't think that this city is capable of talking about the thing. I don't think that's the case. I don't think the city is capable of talking about devastating sports losses. If you feel otherwise, you can join Coug Blaze comments. Paul loves foreplay. Well, I do. Who doesn't? You know, you want to make the people you're with happy. I'm trying to make you, the audience, happy because I don't think you guys want me to talk about the thing. But Eric the driver comments, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and talk about the thing and then get back to kissing Jim Crane's ass. Fair point. Let's talk about the end of the Texans season on Saturday.
Here's Sims. Right up the middle. Still going. Steven Sims. Good night. He is gone. No flags. Touchdown Texans.
You can watch the, I believe, replay of us live watching the Texans game. Me, Josh Beard, Michael Connor, and Joe George yesterday. And in that moment right there, it felt like the Texans had a chance. It really did. Even though, to that point, they kept on getting called for false starts and all sorts of penalties. I think they had 8 penalties for 50 yards at that point. You thought to yourself, man, they haven't played well, and yet there's a chance they got the dumb touchdown that you don't expect. Steven Sims, of all people, running it right up the middle of the field for a touchdown. They just need to capitalize on whatever other opportunities they have. And unfortunately, that did not happen. I'm just going to talk about the 3 missed opportunities in this game because they all took place right after that touchdown by Steven Sims. They're driving down the field. Kaimi Fairbairn has a chance for a 47-yard field goal with 37 seconds to go in the first half, and he misses it. It was windy. Weather didn't look great, so you can understand missing from 47 yards. But in a game against a team like Baltimore, where they clearly have more talent, that can't happen. Then, early in the third quarter, on what would ultimately be a touchdown drive by the Ravens, Jalen Petrie had 2 opportunities to take the football away. 2nd and 7 with the Ravens at Houston's 24 with 12:52 to play in the third. Lamar Jackson throws a pass to Rashad Bateman. It goes right through a blitzing Jalen Petrie's hands. He did get a piece of the ball, but it didn't move the ball all that much. He catches that ball. Would have been a very difficult catch. What are we talking about? We're definitely forgetting a lot of the struggles by Jalen Petrie this past year. The very next play, it's Jalen Petrie again. Lamar Jackson throws a pass to the end zone. Petrie dives, but his hands are with palms down, so he has no chance to really catch it. As somebody who has done that once in a high school game and could not get an interception because I did the same thing, it sucks when you have a chance at a pick and you go at it trying to deflect the ball as opposed to trying to catch the ball. He still almost got it, but those 2 plays back-to-back, the Texans could have taken the football away. The very next play after those 2 back-to-back, Lamar Jackson runs up the middle for a touchdown. And then the Texans, on their next drive, move it to Baltimore's, I believe, 39-yard line. It's 1st and 10. And they ran this double reverse throwback play to C.J. Stroud that ends up being a 5-yard loss. It's 2nd and 15 from the Baltimore 44. Incomplete pass, 1-yard throw to Dalton Schultz. They punt. That was it. They had to capitalize on most, if not all, of those opportunities if they were going to win that game on Saturday. And they missed on all of them. And ultimately, the game got out of hand from that point there. I'm curious as to how Houston sports fans, specifically those listening to us talking about it on the radio, want us to discuss that loss. Because I know the diehards out there want us to rip the Texans. I think the casuals want to ignore and avoid the conversation, though, entirely. And I have no issue with that. I don't. You do find yourself now staring down some really hard truths about the future of this team because, yeah, the future is bright because you have CJ Stroud and because you have D'Amico Ryans. But nothing is guaranteed in this league, as I've brought up before. This might have been an AFC with the Bills team that really didn't get hot until late, a Chiefs team that doesn't look like it used to on offense, and a Ravens team that, okay, they win this game. We'll see what happens when they play Kansas City on Sunday. Baltimore's clearly the class of the conference, but you always wonder if this was going to be your best opportunity to go far. And then you find out that you're nowhere close to the class of the three teams that were expected to come out of the AFC. Buffalo with how they played hot down the stretch. Kansas City because it's Patrick Mahomes. And Baltimore because they were the 1 seed and their defense looks like it did in this game. So how do you want us to discuss this? Serious question. I talked to a couple of my friends who are fans of Houston sports teams, and they always tell me, yeah, whenever they lose, I don't want to hear anyone talk about it. I don't want to discuss it either. And I understand that line of thinking. Because now next for the Texans, they got to figure out who they're going to bring back. A lot of free agents. Jonathan Grenard, the most important of all of them. Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary, many, many others. You might be losing at least one coach, either Bobby Slowick, your current offensive coordinator, who has interviewed twice before the game on Thursday with the Tennessee Titans, and also did some more interview with the Panthers as well over Zoom. He's going to, I think he just came off a couple of interviews with the Falcons, Commanders, and Seahawks. He might be gone. Gerard Johnson has been approached by a couple of teams with vacant offensive coordinator positions. So you're going to be losing some coaches. And you're going to have a much more difficult schedule next year. First place schedule. You're going to be playing a different division in the NFC than the NFC South. I forget what division off the top of my head, but that is the worst division in the NFC. By default, you're going to be playing a more difficult division. So it's going to be tougher next year. And I think for the most part, after a major sports loss, Houston sports fans like to bury their head in the sand. And I have no issue with that. This is just not like in the Northeast or some of these other places where people want like fire and brimstone from the talking heads the next day. I don't really know what fire and brimstone I can give you because I don't really know who to lay this at the feet of other than this is a Texans team that had a successful year, that overachieved this season, that finally met reality. Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City are a tier above. And it sucks to realize that. And it also is somewhat anxiety-inducing to wonder how they're going to take that next step when a lot of the cap space that they have, some of it they're going to have to give to players that are currently on the roster, and they're going to have to do well in the draft. Again, they need better offensive linemen. They need more defensive linemen. They need more safeties. Honestly, you could always use some more skill players on offense. Definitely need some more running backs. Clear limitations because of all the teams that played this weekend, there was only one team that had its asses kicked, at least by scoreboard, and that was the Houston Texans. Of all 8 teams that played, the Bucs had a chance to win it late. The Packers had a chance to win it late. Those are 2 teams you look at and you would say to yourself right now, the Texans are better than them because of CJ Stroud. Are they? You know? And then on top of that, the Bills lost, but I mean, they had a chance to send this thing to overtime by missing a field goal. And yeah, you got questions about Sean McDermott as their head coach. What Stephon Diggs is going to want going forward after having a pretty brutal drop in this game. But, I mean, you still look at Buffalo as a tier above the Texans right now. So that's, I think, what sucks. And I think most Texans fans and most Houston sports fans, you don't like to hear that the day after. You're willing to come back to it a couple of weeks later. But today, do you want us to discuss the end and what it means and what's next? I'm not sure you do. 713-780-3776 to call in. To text in as well. You can join us on YouTube, youtube.com/Paul Gallant. You can join us, That's not it. YouTube.com/ESPN Houston. My bad.
Why, he's trying to steal our viewers?
Yeah, I guess so.
We can't compete against ourselves, Paul.
That's true. We can't. Well, we shouldn't compete against ourselves. And you know, when your clips don't get posted to ESPN Houston's channel and you have to post it to another channel, I don't know, say your own, and these frustrations happen. A little behind the kimono at ESPN Houston. How about that?